What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Penney's podcast, episode 9, almost double digits. We've been gone.
We have. We've been MIA, as they say.
Missing in action?
Yeah. We've had a lot going on.
What have we had going on?
We've had, like trips, and the book stuff is doing awesome, and we're getting excited about that.
It's 16 days right now recording this, and there's a fly that keeps buzzing around. It's annoying. It's flying. It's
because you smell good.
Is it? I thought they are attracted to poop. So that's...
Did you fart?
Throughout the day, yeah, absolutely.
No, it kind of feels good to be, back in the saddle again. Back in the podcast chairs again.
Do you want me to stop recording right now, or should we continue? It does feel good. It does feel good because probably the last couple of weeks there's been moments here and there where the kids have been away or we didn't have a bunch of stuff going on where you're like, hey, let's do one. And I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling it. And then vice versa. I'd be like, hey, let's do one. And you didn't feel it. And then we really didn't have a topic. Abortion was one, certain diets, what they do and don't do, and how people can kind of get stuck in that. And then... There's another one we're going to talk about.
I don't know. I mean, we've ran through a lot of things, and I think for me personally, I just like for it to be authentic. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I struggle with okay, I don't want to speak on this because it's not really hitting me, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
And so I think, with what we're kind of going to talk about today, this is a topic that I think really hits me. And
we need a timeout because it's been so long. I've got to tell you on camera and for the audience that you are still, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Smoking hot.
I mean, I thought you might say, have you ever worn that shirt before? Never.
Well, no,
I've never worn this shirt before. It's so
freaking
weird.
Hot.
Thanks.
Still. You still are. It's amazing.
Thanks.
So yeah, it's been a while, but we're back. We're back
in action.
We're rolling. So
yeah. So.
Yep.
So let's just go ahead and get to it, shall we?
Yeah. So this is a kind of a topic that we do not know a lot about, but we've done it a little bit throughout since I've retired, and probably recently. Mm-hmm. We've been going to counseling, therapist, psychologist, digging into a lot of books on the psychology piece, and we don't have a certificate degree or anything like that. We're just kind of pretty much infatuated with it. We just think it's so cool.
It's interesting
because it kind of goes back to the mindset piece that I love talking about, and it just kind of all ties in a way because it's it goes back to that brain.
Well, it talks about trauma, which I love talking about.
Right, because we both have trauma. I think pretty much. Everyone has trauma of some sort.
Yeah.
But Brainspotting, it probably sounds pretty weird. I'm going to read the basics.
Yeah.
Just so people can kind of follow along. And I've heard of EMDR. I don't know if you've heard that, but what you do is you just kind of sit in there. You talk with a therapist, counselor, whoever's certified to do it. And you've got this the way I did it was there was a beam of light on this scale. So it would start and it would just, this light would go back and forth as a stand is sitting right in front of you, and you just sit there with your head still, and you just kind of follow follow the light. And what I guess what the purpose is supposedly is get the right lobe and the left lobe talking to each other.
Yeah.
And that gets into a realm that I don't even know anything about. But Brainspotting's kind of the same thing ish. I've heard it's more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I've only done it twice. You've done it a few times.
I've done it 4 or 5 times, I think, probably.
Yeah. Which, can I just say real quick, trauma, I know we've discussed this before, but I hate how trauma gets grouped into certain things. Trauma can be any experience for any person. It doesn't have to be, combat related or, abuse related. There's so many, umbrellas that it can fall under. And so Brainspotting, childhood is big from what we've got tons of books that we read on, and just so that we can kind of understand and be more self-aware that your childhood is totally related to your present day. As much as you don't want to believe it or you think it's ridiculous, it's true. And so for us, I think learning all this stuff and becoming more self-aware can help us be better parents too, so that our kids, which our kids in this generation are going to have problems. They're going to grow up and they're going to need counseling and whatnot. But if we can like mitigate some of that and try to like, you like that word that I used?
I love the mitigate word. It's awesome.
If we can like, you know, take some of that out, or at least just be aware of not doing certain things that could lead to traumatic events. But anyway, so
because we're none of us are perfect, but it's like you said, mitigate. It's like, okay, let's do lesser of the trauma.
If you know better, do better.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the goal of it's like we're just trying to be the best we can. So what is brain spotting? And I'm reading this from verywellmind.com. So just kind of explains it. So brain spotting therapy is a type of alternative therapy that uses spots in a person's visual field to help them process trauma. It accesses trauma trapped in the subcortical brain. That's a bad word for me.
Yeah.
The area of the brain responsible for motion, consciousness, emotions, and learning. All right, so to break that down, brain spotting therapy can help with anxiety, attachment issues, substance abuse, post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a big one I go for, chronic pain, and major depressive disorder. The benefits are reducing pain, memories become less painful, which I can speak on that, and we're going to talk about that. Negative thought patterns are reduced, better sleep, and increased energy. So that's kind of what brain spotting is. And again, we're not doctors or psychologists or people that even act like they know what they're doing. We're going through it. Like we go see our counselor at our church, and we go through the brain spotting. And what she does is we get on a topic. Look, for me, it's more wartime stuff. Yours is
Mine's more like just parenting stuff and situational kind of for me.
It's a broad spectrum of things, but what she does, she's got this pointer, and it looks like a little 9mm round on the end of it. It's like you would point at a chalkboard with back in the day, which is a Wednesday. And she just she gives you a question or gives you a conversation. She wants you to get into that memory or think about it, and so you're getting kind of choked up a little bit.
Yeah,
she wants a response. And then she moves it and she asks you if it's better. Is the feeling getting better? Is it worse? Sometimes she'll patch an eye. Sometimes she'll put on music, like calming music, depending on the severity of the traumatic event that you're thinking of. And it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. What's been your experience so far?
Mine, I don't think I've been able to
it's weird as heck to sit there and watch that. My first session.
Yeah, no, the first time I was like, okay, what? I don't know about all this. This is like some hippie stuff, but hey, I'm all for hippie stuff if it works, right? So, I don't know, like my first time, which I've been told by other counselors that stuff like this and EMDR is really difficult for people who have anxiety. And obviously I have a little of that. And so it's hard for me to really like focus, and because in my mind, I'm like, okay, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? I can't really get into it. So I don't think it's really benefiting me until I can get past the anxiety piece. But I will say, like, there was one time that we did it. And I mean, when we started, I brought up the topic, and I mean, my chest, like I have like a physical feeling. I don't know about you, but like my chest got tight, and I'm sure it was red and splotchy. My face was hot. My heart was pounding, and then I started to sweat. And then, she starts moving it real slowly. And of course, in that time, I'm just like, okay, this is so stupid. But I found myself, like, I think it was maybe like 2 minutes after I had that like heightened sense, I literally felt like I wanted to pass out from exhaustion.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Like I was watching, and I was like, am I being hypnotized? Like I was like, and obviously I wasn't, but I was like, I could fall asleep right now. Like I feel relaxed. And she was like, good, let's keep going. And I'm like, okay. And so, but for me, I think, I mean, it's to help for like future experiences, right? So if you have that same experience, let's say, pulling up in the driveway at your house and you are scared to walk in because the kids are going to be crazy. Maybe that's your situation. And so it's supposed to help, like every situation thereafter, it's supposed to help that emotional response be less, right?
And that's what it says. Negative thought patterns are reduced. Memories become less painful.
Right. And so I do think this is a repetition thing, because for me, that wasn't the case. Now, I'm not saying that this is not something that works. I'm just saying I haven't done it enough to really experience the full benefit.
Right.
But for you, because I know the first couple of times that you talked about it, I was just listening to you and I was like, oh my gosh, like.
I was a wreck.
Not to say you're like made of stone all the time, but like you were like melted. Like you were
It was.
coming undone.
It was so bad where I remember I was calling you when I left we were talking about Louis. And I thought I had to pull over.
You were like hung up on me, and I'm like,
I was like crying so bad, like I couldn't see. It was like I was underwater.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to pull over. It was that bad. I mean, but that good. But the funny thing is, so real quick, sorry, just like we went over a death that I experienced of a buddy, kind of survivor's guilt over in Iraq.
Tell them how many years ago that was. That's part of the...
12 years.
Okay, so that's 12 years ago.
12 years ago, this is still affects me to this day. And we get into the thing, and this is like my big kahuna. This is like the big, let's not talk about this. And I just lost it. Like I lost it. We were doing the Brainspotting, and it was to the point where she's like, okay, you've had enough. Like it was so bad. Like it was so intense. I was crying. I had the feeling in my gut. The feeling was in my throat. It was going down to my fingers. My hands were tingling. And it was weird because like certain spots that she would move this pointer, it would be less or more.
Yeah.
And she kind of wants you at like, she doesn't want you at a 10.
Right.
She wants you like at, I think, a 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 or something. Like that. Six whatever, something like that. Like not too crazy, but enough to get things going. So we did that, and then I was just crying, and then the session was over, and I called Amanda and told you about the session, and back to the crying thing, and like almost had to pull over. I went back the next time, and she asked me to do it again, and I couldn't. Usually, I can smell it, I can feel it, I can see it, and I couldn't smell it. I could still see it, but it wasn't. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as vivid. It wasn't as graphic. It wasn't as, like, I was in the situation.
Yeah, like you still kind of were aware that it happened, but you weren't so emotionally involved with it in that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
But, should I continue to go to the...
Yeah.
Okay, so I go to this is probably my 4th or 5th session where this happened. So I go, it's not as bad. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe this. She tries to get me back to the same spot. And then this is a session after we went down to Louisiana for the speaking thing. So we went down there. I remember I was doing the speaking thing, and I remember looked back at Amanda, and I was talking about her, like talking about family. Here we go again, man. And I start getting choked up like I am right now. It's so weird. And I started kind of getting choked up, and she could tell it as she's watching me. And she's like, what do you see right now? And I was like, I see my wife's face. And I was seeing your face as I looked back. You were by the whiteboard when I was giving the speech, just looking at me, kind of like smiling and just looking beautiful as ever. And I'm like, that's what I see. And I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky to have her. And in that moment, like, soon as I was done talking, I'm pretty sure when I was done talking, I'm focusing on this pointer, this spot thing that I'm supposed to be looking at. And I just have this crazy vision. And this is going to sound extremely weird. Me saying this sounds extremely weird. So in it, if you can remember the Blair Witch Project, there's that looked like a scarecrow almost, like kind of rough lines, but it was a human body, and this is the vision I'm describing, and it was me. I can tell it was me. I'm literally like in this. I'm wide awake. I'm sitting in a chair just like I am now, looking at this freaking spot as my counselor, therapist, whatever she's called, right in front of me, and I'm just like in this like picture, in this like, I don't even know what to call it, in this vision. And I'm stretched out, and I know it's me. And I'm cut, like there's like, my body's not cut in half, but there's two sides of what's going on in the background and around me. On one side, on the left side, if we're looking at this picture, on the left side was nothing but blue skies and like 3 white fluffy clouds. I think it was perfect. There was no birds. It was very quiet. There was no sound. Like I can hear this, like you can go from the side to the side.
So it's peaceful.
It was so peaceful. And I was stationary. I was anchored down. I was not moving. Nothing was pulling me. Nothing was pushing me. Nothing was pushing me the other way. I wasn't falling. I wasn't going up or nothing. I was just stationary. Mm-hmm. On the other side, however, on the right side was chaos, as I would describe as chaos. It was like, I would see these reels like all throughout this, if you can imagine this, like certain ops I've done, certain shootings, getting shot at, losing guys, seeing bullet casings falling, seeing blood splatter, seeing explosions, seeing
Fire.
twisted metal, fire, and helicopters and guns, and there's like this reel. It's like the twitch, you know, like you can get those things like a twitch. It was like that on the background. Like there was nothing but fire, explode. Like all this was going on.
It's like the scary movie.
It was like
thingy,
everything. Like a different part of this picture was something else was different. Like it was war, but you could see these little demons, and they were going. And this is okay. Sorry. They were going like they were like clawing at me on this side of my body, my right side of my body, and I could feel them pulling me. Like they were pulling my leg, they were pulling my arm, and they were pulling me. And they had claws, and I couldn't feel the pain. I couldn't feel them touching me or anything. I could hear them, but I couldn't feel them touching me or do anything. But I could tell I was getting pulled. I was getting pulled. I was just getting tugged in a way where the other side, I was just anchored down, nothing. So that happened, and I was like, what the heck? I mean, it might have been a couple seconds. I saw all this, and then she's like, whoa, what just happened? So I described it to her, and then she goes, what do you think that was? And I go, if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm like, I feel like I'm in a great place right now. You know, I'm seeking Christ. I'm doing the things that I should be doing. But I'm like, the dark side, freaking Satan wants me back. That's like what I saw. That's what I felt in that moment. It's me saying this sounds so freaking weird. But in that moment, that's exactly how I felt. And she goes, yeah, she's like, the fight for your soul, which is what we deal with all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Christ followers, like we deal with that exact thing. I mean, spiritual warfare, you talk about it often, you know, and I think the closer that we get to God, the more that we are attacked by the devil. I mean, that's just the
100%.
way that it is. And so the more like good word we spread, and the more that we glorify God, and the more that we put ourselves on the line, we're going to be under spiritual attack, you know? And it's no question, like people that watch us know that we're believers, and we're not going to shy away from that.
Dang right we are.
So, you know, people who maybe don't understand that, don't realize that there is always a spiritual attack. And so to me, that's obviously, I mean, your vision has so much symbolism, for all, you know, Christ followers, but I mean, you specifically, it just speaks to your PTSD. I mean, like all the kind of struggles that you've had, like, I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, it's trying to pull you back.
What's so crazy, and we talk about this all the time, like if I was listening to myself like 15, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're a nut job.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny that you just said what you said, how we're attacked. And this morning I was reading, I think it was in Luke. It goes, when a demon is cast out, it goes to the desert to find rest. But when it can't find it, it comes back to that person, but their house is in order. They can't get in. So they come back with their buddies 7 times and try to get in. And it just kind of like goes to 10. And that's not exactly how I don't have it memorized, but I believe it's in Luke. That's like, dude, that's like, we do get attacked. That's why like we wonder about like, oh, why are they getting attacked? They're such a good people. Because they were attacked, like pastors. Yeah. People that are spreading the word, man, those dudes and ladies are freaking getting attacked freaking stop. Like I feel sorry for them. It's like, dude, let me pray for you. Like you need some prayer. Like too much weight's put on them.
Yeah.
Way too much. So my therapist is like, okay, so I want you to draw
your homework.
My homework was to draw this scene that I just described. So I just actually finished it, just colored it, and guys and girls, don't judge me, but I think it's not too bad. But this is it. And again, this is just a drawing, but that's Eddie's drawing of the situation.
I'm anxious to hear what she has to say about it. I
know. So that's what I saw-ish. Again, on this side right here, it was like reels, like just all kinds of like film going on, like movies, like different parts of just helicopters, guns, blood, just twisted metal, explosions, just craziness. And this is where the tugging, I was getting tugged this way, and this is where I was like anchored down, like all peaceful. So that's it. I'm framing this thing. I love it. And the demons, he's really good. There's actually like probably 3 or 4 demons. I just didn't really honestly want to draw all of them. So, But that's my masterpiece right there of like what I saw, which is just crazy, man. Freaking nuts. So it's like, okay, so I go see her tomorrow after jiu-jitsu. So it's like, dude,
Be interesting.
What's going to happen now?
We'll need a follow-up.
So, but I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've done a lot of therapy, a lot of talk therapy, a lot.
I love talk therapy.
I do too.
I will talk someone's ear off. I love it so much.
Especially for the marriage piece.
Yeah.
I really do like it. And we do it more of a maintenance kind of thing. In communications, we have issues with communication sometimes, but like just being proactive and doing stuff. What are some other things that we do you think?
I think we're doing it right now.
The Brainspotting thing?
No, the podcast.
The podcast? Okay,
Yeah.
So there we go. We do podcasts too. So
I
do a
think
podcast.
I think that like, I mean, we've mentioned this before, like how cathartic this is. And I think it really.
What?
Cathartic? Yeah. Like it's good
What
for.
What is that?
Are you joking?
No, I'm not joking.
You ever heard the word cathartic before?
How do you spell that?
I think it's like CATHARTIC. Cathartic. Like I'm in a spelling bee.
Well, you'd win because I wouldn't. Dude, I never heard of that word.
Like good for the heart, good for the soul. Like it's
I've
good.
heard of cardiac. All right, sorry.
So, anyways, it's good for us to do this, and so
absolutely,
we're talking about being attacked, and it's like, man, like we haven't been doing podcasts, and to me, this is like something positive, and so I'm like, man, maybe this is something that we're being like attacked.
Of course we were.
I mean?
If we're talking about anything about the
I don't know. I'm just talking out loud, thinking out loud. I don't know. I'm sweating.
Being cathartic. That's ridiculous.
So, anyways, yeah, I'm proud of you. That takes a lot. Like you've come a long way from like, I don't know, our last podcast. I'm joking.
No, you're not.
No, you really have. You've come a long way, and I think we both have. But
I was gonna say we both have that therapy, like the talking piece. Like for me, because we started digging into some uncomfortable territory. Like I'm not good with the emotions. You could talk all day long. I'm like, dude, you're just like Obi-Wan Kenobi over there with emotions, like batting. So
no,
like,
you got to let that go though, because you are
that's
starting.
Easy to say.
No,
that's
but you're
easy.
starting to open up. You are starting to come to fruition. It's happening right before our eyes.
I know it's happening, and I'm happy for that as well. I've had a real hard time with emotions over the last couple decades.
Do you want to talk about dinner the other night?
What was dinner? Oh, crap. Sure. Go ahead.
We don't have to.
It's all right. Well, you have to now. You open Pandora's box. Can't do that.
No, because I think it's really cool. And I think that there's a lot of guys that listen to you and struggle with certain things. And so to see a man like you that's gone through the things you've gone through, I feel like I say that every freaking podcast, but it's true. Like just to see, I don't know, for you to just be like super transparent about certain things, to me, is going to get us way further than anything else. Because, like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess the thing that happened at dinner last night that I don't know what stemmed it or what we were talking about or whatever it was.
No, it was cool because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's why it was so awesome.
I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've been a lot of things. I've been getting shots and necks to help with like PTSD crap and seeing people and brain spotting things, freaking digging into as much literature as I possibly can, listening to people, that psychologists that talk about, it was a brainstem thing that you talked about. Tell me about the brainstem thing. That's what it was. That's what it started.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, so basically like I was just at my counseling appointment and we were talking about the cerebellum and then the brainstem and how I guess the brainstem is what controls your fight or flight response. And so people that are constantly in a state of fight or flight, their brainstem doesn't get turned off. Mm-hmm. So it stays on and it doesn't know when to shut off anymore. And so you're totally dysregulated. And so basically like since you were in an extended place of, heightened or hypervigilance and a heightened state of chaos, yours very well could still be turned on and you're stuck. And so, and I'm kind of stuck with my anxiety. Like, so, that's what we were talking about is just that
right.
You can get stuck in that state.
And it doesn't have to be just wartime stuff.
No.
It can be trauma, trauma.
Yeah. And so therefore, like you don't know when to Like it could be the smallest thing and you just flip out over it because in your mind you're
Guilty.
thinking like this is worthy of a flip out, but like to a normal person who is I don't want to say normal, to a regulated person
Yeah.
that has their emotions steady and regulated, that would not be normal to flip out over a small thing.
Right.
So they have the emotional intelligence to know what is, you know what I'm saying? That's where that started.
No, I get it, dude. I remember, I think I've told you this like a while ago, like 2014-ish. I remember I was getting breakfast and I dropped an egg. And eggs suck to clean up because you got the yolk and you got the other things. And like I was so mad, and my egg was on the shelf of this door that you open up. Like,
Oh, and so it got like,
so it dropped one egg, and I was so mad. I freaking took my fist and went boom down the whole line of drawers, every egg freaking everywhere. I'm like, that was good job, Benny. That was awesome. That's where I was.
yeah.
I'm definitely not there anymore. There's been times I'm like, and I gotta like, okay, stop, breathe, go outside, do something, bang your head against the wall, just don't do what you're about to do. Like,
Yeah, but that's all because you've been learning these different tools, which is
no,
awesome.
exactly. I was in a bad spot. I want people to think like, oh, you got it all put together, dude. I don't have anything. Very little put together. But I'm saying like you can see the progress of when you are proactive.
Yeah.
And it's not an overnight thing. It is not an overnight. Unfortunately, it is not. That was 2014. So carry the two. There's your, it's been that long. But the thing, what happened the other night is I realized out of all the stuff that's been going on, I asked you, I was like I feel that some of my actions, some of my words, just my posture, my tone of voice is like in an aggressive, not so chill, cool way. And I don't realize it. And I'm starting to realize that maybe the way I've been acting in certain situations, not all the time, of course, in certain situations, I'm like, man, maybe I just don't even see myself on how I sound or how I look. So that was a tough pill to swallow last night. I was like, man, maybe that's it. It's kind of like Shallow Hal. Remember the movie Shallow Hal?
Yeah.
Like he sees they're beautiful women, but they're really not beautiful women. I'm like, dude, maybe that was like, I'm thinking everything's doing good. I think I'm doing well, but maybe I'm not, where I think I am, and I need to, keep pressing on. It was just kind of like a realization, I guess. And, I don't know what it was, but my brain, it doesn't stop.
I think it was self-awareness. I
Yeah,
think
it could
takes
have
a
been.
lot to.
It sucked. I'll tell you that much. Which is why I started crying at the middle of dinner again.
We've had so many tears the last couple of days.
It's freaking crazy, man.
Oh my gosh! But I think it's good. It's
good
not
too.
bad. It's a good thing.
I think it's good too.
It's a good thing. Emotions are good
Yeah, I know.
when they're regulated, right?
You say that V word all the time, being vulnerable. I'm like, ugh. We cried today at church. Mm-hmm. Cried today at church. Freaking
I
like
almost broke my
twice.
glass.
So. You good? I think I'm like emotionally drained just by talking about this because I'm like thinking about certain things.
Yeah, I'm good. I just really we just wanted to make an appearance and be like, hey, we're alive and we're doing well, and we've got all these things going on, and yeah.
Yeah, but if you've got some things going on, maybe talk therapy is not working, EMDR is not working, or certain things you're doing, maybe go check out Brainspotting. I'm a firm believer in it. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Everyone's different. Certain things work for certain people, but it's just one of those things like, hey, let's try it. Is it going to work? Yes or no? It could be the answer. I really don't know, but it's another, like, it's more ammunition for your weapon to destroy evil, to make yourself a better person, to make, be better for your family, your friends, and everyone around you, and just this world. So that's pretty much it, man. Like, give it a shot.
Just have an open mind if you do it, because
Exactly,
it is a
have an
little
open mind, yeah.
strange. It's a little strange, but somehow, some way, it works.
Keep coming up with
every single day.
Okay. All right, cool.
All right, so
Wanna
until
close this
next
up?
time.
That was a really like sluggish, like goodbye. Like what?
It's a very nonchalant,
yeah,
like,
okay, guys, we'll
see you
later.
guys.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time, and you guys be safe, and thanks a lot.
Bye.